Hey guys, it's me again, Benedict Kim. Good to talk to you guys all again. And this is just the way I'm gonna pitch this because it's been working. It's been working, all right. Even though I have to admit that I have not been able to find another project for Bong Joon-ho, Kiwi Kwan, Roger Wan, my uncle Jun B. Kim, or of course Michelle Yeoh or anyone else who I've been trying to get another movie going for. It's been very difficult somehow, but I think it's a good thing that there's like a whole slate of really awesome, amazing movies shooting concurrently right here, right now. And I might as well just pitch another that was supposed to be for Ken Jeong. I was always a fan of that guy. I was wondering if he's still alive. Because I remember Ken Jeong. I remember The Hangover. That was like it for Asian Americans for a while, okay? There was Harold and Kumar, and then there was The Hangover, and everything else for Asian America was so fucking disappointing. And then eventually you had The Gentleman, okay? And like Asian American gangster shout out, I guess. And it was okay. But to be honest, the strongest character of Asian America for a while was Mr. Chow on The Hangover. And I don't know what happened to Ken Jeong in the end. I've heard he's dead. I've heard he's been dead for many, many years, and that's a bummer if he is. He was actually funny. Besides Ken Jeong, the only other Asian comedian who's actually funny is Bobby Lee. And Harold Ko, he was like a stuntman. He was like Bruce Lee for a bit or something like that. That's what I've heard about him, that he was actually supposed to be like Roger Wan or Kiwi Kwan. He was supposed to be an action man and stuntman movie. But otherwise, the thing about Ken Jeong was that he was actually funny, and he was not the main character of The Hangover, but there is reason to believe that he's the one who actually made the fucking Hangover. All right, there are two awkward comedians in The Hangover, okay? Both are famous today. Ken Jeong and, of course, Garfield. I think he goes by Galifianakis, and he claims to be Greek, but he was going by Garfield. And that guy is also, when he's in his own space and he's comfortable, he actually gets funny. He becomes funny. He's one of the few comedians who are actually fucking funny. Fucko funny. All right? Like, he started whooping Justin Bieber's ass. He started saying crazy shit, okay, to female celebrities. He was really, really funny. That was actually funny. He was one of the few comedians who could actually pull that off, okay? The rest of them, I think by the time Galifianakis takes off with Two Little Shrubs and a Fern, I think the rest of them were already dead. Like Shepard was dead. Uh, there was another guy besides Shepard who was pretty hot for a while. I think it was Mike Myers, maybe. Some people would tell you maybe it was Mike Myers, even though he was not a comedian. That guy was never really that funny, but Shepard was funny. It was Mencia, but I think Mencia died in like 2002. All right, that's how hot that guy burned and fizzled out. Like he died in 2002 after getting hot in 2001. All right. And they had a bunch of tapes, like self-tapes he had made. But at some point, they thought he was talking from an alien ship, okay? Because he was still current. Like, he was putting out stuff that was still current somehow from the grave. So they assumed, like, because they knew he was dead. They knew Mencia was dead in 2002, like mid-2002, or like July, Mencia drops dead from, like, getting burned alive. That's how hilarious his death was. He was burned alive. They thought he was still making stuff from like an alien pirate ship. Like he got picked up by like an alien pirate ship to still make stuff for a while, and he was like saying stuff concurrently to real time for a bit. So it seemed like for a while he was still able to somehow produce content by his lonesome on an alien pirate ship, but he was dead by 2002. Shepard was dead by 2003. All right, Dave Chappelle was actually funny, but I think he was dead by 2000. And Ken Jeong, okay, it's not that he was dead by 2006. Some people will tell you he died in the 90s, okay? That's how funny that guy was. He dropped dead like before he even took off, all right? Before he even got famous, he drops dead in like 1995 then, 1996. It's been thought that he was dead for a while, all right? But um, he at least finally gets his moment with The Hangover where he gets to be this really, really funny character, okay? And it takes off, The Hangover takes off, and it's in large part because of him, because of the Mr. Chow character he plays. And that's something you have to not take for granted because Bobby Lee, even though he's funny, he's never put out anything that was funny in terms of a movie or TV show where he was that hilarious, all right? Where Ken Jeong pulls this off. And then of all people, it was actually Harold Coe, Harry, all right? Harry Coe, who manages to put something out there that people found funny, even though he was actually a very serious actor, and same with Cal Penn. Cal Penn wasn't very funny in this one too. Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. He actually does like horror movies. His main thing is like horror. He's in the horror genre, even though they thought that Cal Penn was stuck on an island, like somewhere in the Northeast, after working for Obama. Like someone got pissed at him and they literally left him on Calpen Island. That's what they called that shit. There was like some dumb bridge that leads to Calpen Island and he was stuck on the island and the bridge was like out of reach for him. And he had to kind of try to reach up to grab the end of the bridge to climb up on the bridge to escape. And he just couldn't do it for like years and years and years and years and years. He was stuck on Calpen Island as someone fed him like cheeseburgers and stuff and like abused him like sexually. This is what happened to Cal Penn after he started working for Obama, which is why like I refuse to ever work for any of these administrations directly in the past. Or I have not tried. I have not tried because I knew fucking Harold and Kumar was over, alright? Because Cal Penn started working for Obama. I knew that's what killed that whole fucko show. People don't know how mean politics get, but at some point when it flips here, they get rid of everything of the old candidate, the old president. They dump everything down the tubes or onto Cal Penn Island, including Cal Penn. And that's what ends up happening to him. And Harold Coe himself, he's thought to have died in 2006 too, actually. So if you're still looking for Harold Coe, you're probably not going to find him. I'll put it this way. If you're not seeing this celebrity on tabloids at all even, like paparazzo taking pictures of them, you probably can't find them and paparazzo can't find them. And sometimes a paparazzo can miraculously find people, right? It's not that they can't. Some of them, like they can go like back in time to like snap up some pictures of someone. Some of them are thought to do that quite frequent. But otherwise, if you're not seeing them at all on the tabloids, they're probably long gone. All right. You would definitely see snapshots of them as they live their daily life up on the paparazzo news somewhere. You know what I mean? Like the New York Daily News, New York Daily Times, whatever you want to call it now. It would be there if they're still around. If you're not seeing them at all, those celebrities long gone, and they're only talking like they're still around because there's an estate. All right, their money, the money that should have gone to them while living, it's all being poured into some weird ass bank account, and people are going around pretending to be Cal Penn, pretending to be Harold Coe, pretending to be Ken Jeong, but they're like long fucking dead, and you're just looking at reruns of what they made before, all right, that might have aired superficially to like nothing, okay? Like no audience was virtually watching, like nothing was happening for them at the time, but it aired, or even worse, went to theaters and nobody watched. Or worse yet, it was syndicated, all right, syndicatable. So they basically created a bunch of stock footage off of like a bunch of tropes, a bunch of sketches, stuff that didn't add up to one single piece, but finally someone somehow made it add up, and that syndicated movie is now being released years later, and it was pretty good or good enough to be TV, home video, or something. All right, you might see them again in such a work that they present as new, but in fact it's just stock footage, it's just syndicatable material. This happens a lot too, for sure it does. All right, but my main point was this, that I had made something for Ken Jeong quite recently, just in case he was still out there, in case he was still alive, because celebrities fake their deaths all the time, okay, for different reasons, like maybe they're from North Korea, and they had to fake their deaths because they're getting in trouble as North Korean dictator spy, or somebody else wanted to be Ken Jeong, or they wanted to move that money that Ken Jeong was supposed to get into like a phony bank account that someone else was gonna use up. Okay, and they wanted to make sure that Ken Jeong was out of the picture, so the people around him faked his death, so that the people who took over his life, who took over his money, okay, and celebrity, they didn't feel like they had to go out and kill him because it's just cleaner, it's thorough to do that. All right, just like Pumpkin Man, Captain Underpants, Toilet Guy says in fucking Suicide Squad 2, it's just thorough to do that so that you could be sure that money is yours once you steal the celebrity's identity and move his money to your bank account or to some funny bank account and spend up his life's work. It just more thorough if that celebrity's actually dead. So that's a reason why people will fake the deaths of celebrities so that whoever stole his life just assumes that he pulled it off. He's not going to hear back from that celebrity or from police or something about this money he's spending left and right. Sometimes that's the case, and it turned out that a celebrity actually just faked his death, and he's still out there ready to make more content and take his life back. So just in case that is the case with Ken Jeong, all right, here is, okay, Purple Mountain Dim Sum Palace again, all right, or Lucky Go Go Strike, Lucky Go Tea Me, all right, Lucky Go Tea Me, all right, guys, which is the failed New York startup that was supposed to be the retail king, fashion online fashionista hub of all time. All right, worth $3 billion out the gate. This website, all right, that was supposed to sell retail fashion around New York, in and around New York. And this is how it works, guys, for this game. So this is a show about online retail fashion. Okay, T-shirts. Is there objective value for T-shirts at this point? A lot of 2000s Bape T-shirts, Dusty T-shirts, all right, Supreme NYC T-shirts, and so on. Celeb collab T-shirts, I Heart New York, I Heart Philly, Love T-shirts. All right, is there objective values for these by now set by the markets, you could say, from outer space? All right, where like, yeah, you might be selling this T-shirt for 12 bucks at a trinket store, but objectively, this T-shirt is actually worth 100 bucks. And people who know this, whenever they see someone walk off with like a whole armful of I Heart New York T-shirts from the 2000s or early 2010s, like namely 2012, they freak out. They follow that guy around and say, hey, 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 that's not how much those go for. Okay, you need to do more for me, this type of thing. And they're usually middle class types willing to play that game of following the guy who just walked out with all your I Heart New York T-shirts. Okay, until he gives you a little bit more than 12 bucks a shirt, all right? Until it's more like $100 a shirt. But they'll tell you this, some of those I Heart New York shirts are actually like $100,000. You know why? One of the things people can do, one of the things we can definitely make, all right, and get away with and profit from and people accept across the board, you could say, t-shirt, all right? That's one of the things we can do, all right? A lot of artists get that. You might want to make Cinderella tiaras, all right, but that may be not something people can make. Okay, easiest way to put it, all right. Maybe people are not supposed to be making those, all right. It's just not our place to make Cinderella tiara, all right. And the Europeans will tell you, yes, exactly. That's something for a magical fucking elf to make. You need to get that tiara from a magical fucking elf. That's what the Europeans really, really believe. And if you make fun of them for that, they're never going to talk to you again. They're going to viciously attack you the next chance they get, okay? That they get their tiaras, their Cinderella tiara from magical fucking elf or mouse or schnauzer, wouse or bouse, okay? Basically, it's magic to begin with, all right? And they'll tell you the same is true to some degree about t-shirts, that if you look at this stitching for the t-shirts, how intricately woven it is, it's like woven by magic, all right, guy? Like someone really spent all this time, all right, with a thread and needle to weave this t-shirt. I doubt it. They used a sewing machine. Okay, then the sewing machine is there. That helped. Okay, but I doubt they used a fucking sewing machine, all right? Some guy in a sweatshop to weave most of these I Heart New York t-shirts, unless it was fucking magic and you would have thought it was magic watching this person weave this thing from scratch, right? You would have thought it was, okay? Because that's fucking crazy. Someone actually weaving a t-shirt from scratch with some fabric, right? Some yarn, like in Rumpelstiltskin or something. Where like this guy's gonna just take a ball of yarn and weave you like a whole I Heart New York t-shirt out of it. Like get out of here. That is fucking magic if you saw someone do that. But somehow t-shirts, something we can do. So people, at least in America, they embrace things that you can do. It's that simple, all right? This is something you can do, you embrace it, okay? That's what you make your business around. All right. I don't have to worry about some bummo walking in taking all my tiaras because he says this is not your place to do. This is not something you guys can do at all. All right. You guys get your filthy, grubby hands off of those tiaras. I'm going to go rescue these and I'm going to walk off with all of them unless you guys are big enough like Disney to keep these here. All right. Right here on your pier, on your Mandalay Bay Pirate Pier, basically. All right. Everyone else, you're going to get jacked for stuff people can't readily do business on, all right? But people can actually do business on t-shirts, all right? That's why people use t-shirts as code, all right, to be able to do business on things they can't do business on, if that makes sense, all right? Like people use t-shirt as code for heroin, opium, cocaine, or things that people can't actually readily do business on for different reasons, okay? because people can do business on T-shirt, all right? And they like to talk about T-shirt. And yes, you can actually have a good business on T-shirt so long as your T-shirts get there. Can your value appreciate with time, with hype, all right? Like I love New York T-shirts. I heart New York. All right. Did those seem silly back in the 90s and the early 2000s, mid 2000s, early 2010s to some people still? Did those seem silly? Yes, they fucking did. All right. Those seem fucking silly. But now that New York is fucking sacred and they got there, all right, guess what? Those I Heart New York t-shirts go for $100,000 a pair if you know what you're doing and you can spot them. And you can spot them right. But let's say you were to just take this out to a middle class family, a middle class crowd, all right, this pair, couplet of I Heart New York t-shirts that do go for $100,000. That's what those are actually fucking worth, all right? Objective values here, all right? This is $100,000 couplet there. Let's say you were supposed to tell that to some Joe Schmoes on the street, okay? They're not gonna believe you, right? They're not gonna buy it. And if they do suddenly see that this thing could be worth 100,000 because I don't know, they're New Yorkers somehow, some way somehow, or Angelinos, and they just know like, yeah, that's how silly and frivolous the world gets, all right? This I Heart New York T-shirt in my hand is 100,000, yo, but I'll probably get a mill for it, all right? Because I got one. This is the real one, and I got it right here, and it's real, and I know what to do with that. I know how to value that. I know how to carry that around over my shoulder until finally someone's like, "How much you want for that thing?" You know, someone rolls up in a Ferrari asking about that shirt. Like, how much you want for that right now, kid? And he knows how to finagle that, and not just get shot and robbed for that T-shirt. Okay, that's how stupid the world gets. Okay, that yes, that guy might just snatch your fucking I Heart New York T-shirt and run off and try to sell it over his shoulder to a guy in a Ferrari who rolls up to him, you know, on Sunset Boulevard or a place like that. Okay, that could happen. But otherwise, what would probably happen is most of these people just won't buy it. They'll think you're stupid. They'll call you crazy. They'll walk around you, right? Even though objectively, that T-shirt is worth 100,000, 150,000 or more, all right? That I Heart New York T-shirt, you right? I don't know how to tell you this, but Johnny Depp used to go around with an I Heart New York key ring keychain, all right? It's like a little key ring keychain for I Heart New York, okay? A little fake metal plastic bastic thing. It was actually made of plastic, all right? And this thing was so fucking magic, all right? He would just go around with this thing no matter what. Like that was one of the few possessions he had. No matter what, he wouldn't let people steal that shit from him. He would like punch them in the face if he thought they were about to snatch it, all right? Like that was the thing that made him someone, all right? Like he was nothing without this thing. Okay, that's what it seemed like to people, and it was true. This thing was so magic. This I Heart New York keychain, key ring, he was nothing without it. That's how he really, really felt. Okay, that thing's worth $1 million now. All right, and that just shows you that yes, some of these I Heart T-shirt New York T-shirts and keychains are worth way more today in 2025 than they were in 2000, when maybe that keychain would have gone for $1,000, objective value $10,000, this type of thing. And where do they get the money from? I don't know. Let's say Howard Stern just got a deal, $700 billion, $700 million, however you want to term it. In US dollars, $70 million. All right. But let's say in 2010, by 2015, they called it $7 billion. Maybe he made major forays and deals in fashion, all right, where he thought he was starting an Oscar de la Renta fucking line, chain, whatever you want to call it. He thought he was also starting, you know, Tom Ford. He also thought he was starting American Gucci, American Prada, and nope, it just went into more I Heart New York t-shirts and keychains, and then made those stupid poor Italians cry, cry, and cry as they flew away that they will put all that money into the I Heart New York T-shirt instead of into like patches and stuff like that, or maybe into like leather handbags and such things. But that's where the money went, and that's what some people know. Like, yes, those fucking T-shirts have objective value of $100,000 a piece, oftentimes. And if you do know, if you're a rich person and you know, there's no way you're gonna walk off with like a big stack of them. Like they're gonna tackle you from out of the woods. Like Agents of Shield's gonna appear to arrest you and stop you and get fair value, fair trade. Okay, you had to have been like a kid, like a stupid kid who thinks like it's just a T-shirt, and then you're taking that T-shirt out of the shop and it's $100,000 and you're walking away with it. All right, maybe you'll be okay when the parents turn around and say, well, "What was it? Can you tell me?" And play this kind of game. Like my parents would when I was younger. My parents would like doing that type of shit. But sometimes they would kind of turn around and tell me like, "Kid, this is expensive. This Lego toy is expensive, right?" I don't know, kid. You want to use your own money to buy this? They would do that with me because they would totally get that side of the economy that you will learn about in LA. You'll find out about these things in LA and Vegas for sure in the West, all right? In the East Coast, you have to find out about it in New York oftentimes and maybe like Miami, Orlando. Texas. Maybe some people there do know and they explain such things. Otherwise, like you just don't know. And seeing is believing. You have to see real fucking cash go down, for that I Heart New York T-shirt, $100,000 on the spot from that Ferrari, all right? But once you see that, if you see it on cameras especially, it's gonna change your life. And I'm telling you right now, that's a real fucking thing. Objective values here, all right? Human beings can do T-shirts, especially in the United States of America. That's something people really, really tried hard at, okay? And some of these T-shirts, objectively, are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars then, okay? We'll say hundreds of thousands of dollars, but then this is the problem, all right? With moving anything, you have to have a customer. Do you have a customer right now willing to pay $100,000 for a t-shirt? Because it's worth $100,000 at least, this t-shirt. I don't know, but you have to find one, all right? So this startup in this Ken Jeong drama, in the Lucky Go Go Tea Me place, Lucky Go Tea Me place, all right? Which already has a New York Stock Exchange stock, okay? Valued at $3 billion. Out the gate, they're valued this much, okay? They're trying to make this all make sense. All right, it's a place where the I Heart New York T-shirt does go for $100,000, and it actually do. Okay, and it's supposed to be hilarious. It's supposed to star Ken Jeong, but I don't know if Ken Jeong's still alive because I think he would have talked to me by now if he was. So I don't know. Otherwise, this is supposed to be a very funny, violent show, and I'm ready to go. I have the synopsis, and we're gonna start working on the script in a more professional, personalized way where like I'd have to see the cast and crew of who's gonna actually be there. But otherwise, I know like black people, they wanna buy this. They want this one. So I'm saying, usually when black people want something and it's in entertainment in TV or movies or music, it's because like they know for sure it's about to take off. All right. See you guys later. I'm Benedict Kemp. Bye.